What you're seeing wasn't caused by bullets or explosives, just air. I've always been scared of air. I mean compressed air. Every time I feel a car tire, I'm kinda worried it could blow up in my face. And maybe that's a bit dramatic, but if it actually happened, how dangerous would it be? To find out, I'm gonna make a device that can unleash 130 times the pressure in a car tire in milliseconds, and point it at a bunch of different targets to answer one question. How dangerous is pressure? But first, why does compressed air even explode? And well, it turns out, to understand that, all you need is a balloon. When you fill a balloon with air, the pressure inside of it builds higher than the outside. And when the rubber can't contain the pressure anymore, it tears, letting the air rush out of it extremely fast. The interesting part though is that the pop you hear doesn't come from the rubber tearing, but from the air itself. When the air escapes the balloon, it expands quickly back to normal pressure, and this sudden push creates a shockwave that makes the air around it vibrate. And that vibration is what causes the bang. Now, the pressure that builds inside a balloon right before it pops is about 1.5 psi. I wanna make it 5,000. To get there, I basically need to make a bomb, pressure releasing device, and I thought about two possible designs for it. The first one is the balloon. I would have to make a balloon that's about 4,000 times stronger than a normal one, and keep filling it with a special pump until it pops and creates an insanely strong explosion with a shockwave going in all directions. There is a problem with this design though. I could only use it once. The second option is a paintball gun, which to the core basically looks like this. An air tank with pressurized air and a valve. When you open the valve, all the pressure in the tank gets released into the atmosphere. In this case, I could reach about 4,500 psi of pressure, which is what most air tanks are rated for, and the pressure blast would also flow away from me. Now all this sounds relatively simple, but there is a problem with this system as well, and that's the speed at which the valve opens. A ball valve, which is the only kind I could find rated for very high pressures, opens gradually and slowly, which means only a fraction of the pressurized air will actually hit the target, because by the time the valve is completely open and all the air leaves the tank, the target would be most likely already out of range. Then, after a while, I found this, a super high pressure solenoid valve. It activates very fast, it can handle more than 5,000 psi, and I'm gonna pretend it doesn't exist. But then, I found something else. Something better. This is an air banger. It kinda looks like a pistol, and really looks like a sawed-off double-barrel shotgun, but it's not. And I gotta clarify that for the secret agent that is about to knock on my door. It's not even classified as a weapon, because it doesn't fire anything, it doesn't have barrels, and it doesn't use gunpowder or explosive. It's basically just a very powerful air compressor. Its purpose is to create a loud explosive sound for training, alarms, or distress signals. Now these two red tubes are air cartridges, and each one of them can hold up to 5,000 psi of compressed air. And again, that's about 130 times the pressure in a car tire. Each. Moreover, they release the pressure in milliseconds when you press the trigger, and you could even fire them both at the same time. So if pressure could be dangerous at all, this is the right device to test that. Inside the box, you get the blaster, the two 5,000 psi cartridges, and these small discs called rupture discs, which are the key to understand how all the mechanism works. These metal cartridges are basically a tube. On the front, there is a sort of pin, and on the back, we insert a rupture disc this way. Now, when I fill the cartridge, the pressure can't escape, because the valve in the front stays closed, and the rupture disc is intact and blocks the exit. Then, after pressing the trigger, the hammers hit the back of the cartridge and break the rupture disc. And what happens next is pretty fascinating. Since the back of the cartridge is not sealed anymore, a little bit of pressure flows out of the back where the disc broke. This tiny pressure differential though is enough to create a negative pressure behind the front valve. There's basically nothing that pushes the front valve from the inside and keeps it closed. And so atmospheric pressure is now enough to push it and open the valve. At this point, all the pressure in the main chamber quickly rushes out from the front, causing the insanely loud blast of pressure. So let's try it. To fill the cartridges up to 5000 psi, you can't just use a normal compressor. Mine, for example, can only reach 120 psi. So to do that, you gotta have a PCP pump, with which it would take a while, or a PCP compressor. I have one, but I never used it. And it clearly says here this thing could explode if not used properly, but that shouldn't be the case because I've watched a YouTube tutorial. First, I gotta place a new rupture disc into the center of the cap, and then screw the cap back on. At this point, I can screw the fill adapter to the front of the cartridge, and then connect it to the compressor. Now that was easier than expected. It just took 50 seconds, and right now, the cartridge is loaded. The last step is arming the trigger hammer, like this, and set the safety toggle on. There is my granny in the other room, probably. I'm gonna tell her to go away. Single shot mode. I don't know what to expect. Like, no idea. What? What? So it definitely did something to the box. And the banger also has a lot of recoil, which I wasn't expecting. And by the way, that was single shot mode. Okay, I got another shot. Do I need to cock it back though? Yeah. Oh, there is a mosquito. There is a mosquito. No. Okay, let's try it here. This is amazing, it's so fun! Also, if I pause the video here, you see the banger is literally shooting a stream of air. So it's gonna be very interesting to see that in ultra slow motion. Anyways, let's begin with the test. As usual, I've got a few different targets I'm gonna test the blaster on. And I'm gonna start with a smoke bomb. The reason for that is because I wanna see how the air behaves when you shoot the blaster. And the smoke should help us visualize the pressure blast, especially in ultra slow motion. After that, the classic watermelon and pumpkin, then a brand new iPhone 16. We're gonna get there in a minute. Then ballistic gelatin, a concrete block, and a ballistic dummy head. Alright then, let's start with the smoke. Also, for this test and on the next ones, I'm gonna shoot both cartridges at once. And even though the wind decided to censor my shot from the slow motion camera, I can tell the power of this thing in double shot mode. It's absolutely insane. Since I have 3 smoke bombs, I'm gonna use them all to try to get the best slow motion shot. This time I managed to get the shot, even though the light is not the best. And it turns out, the smoke is not that useful, because the stream of pressure is perfectly visible by itself. Did you see that? It is an actual stream of air. It's tight. It's like a laser. It's so cool. Now I have one last smoke bomb, so I'm gonna try one more time to give you a better angle with the slow motion camera. Alright, that's the shot I was looking for. Next up, we've got a watermelon. Do you think it's gonna punch a hole in it? Or it's gonna blow it up? That's right. Let's see what happens to this watermelon. Well, I wasn't really expecting that. And I'm not talking about the fact I have watermelon all over my body. I'm talking about the violence of that impact. It launched pieces of watermelon 20 meters away from the table, and the bits that came back towards me actually hurt. This thing is amazing. Anyways, the next target is gonna be a pumpkin. Alright, from now on I'm gonna try to stay a little bit further away from the targets, because even though I kinda like watermelon shower. I certainly wouldn't want to do that with bones. Let's see what happens to the pumpkin. But that didn't change much. Anyways, the next target is gonna be a brand new iPhone 16. And the reason I'm doing that is because this video is supported by Rhino Shield. I promised them I was gonna properly test their brand new case, RX. I just didn't tell them I was gonna blast it with 5000 psi of compressed air. But I mean, if the phone survives, it means the case is really worth it. Now, there are a few reasons why I think this case can actually save the phone. The Rhino Shield RX is built with a multi-layer internal damage protection system that absorbs up to 81% of the impact. That means not just the screen, but also the internal components of your phone stay safe. The Rhino Shield even created their own G-Force test simulator, basically lab-tested proof that this case prevents hidden damages. And about durability, RX survived over 24,000 tumbles without cracking. That's about 30 times longer than the industry standard. Plus, it's a 360-degree cushion design for all-around protection, and it's also fully recyclable thanks to its mono-material build. And all this sounds absolutely great, but will it survive 5000 psi? That's right. I could have just dropped it a few times. Alright. Let's do it. I'm gonna stay a little bit further away, alright? Just allow me that, like here. Allow me that. All right, 3, 2, 1, 2, 1. Oh. Oh. That was bad. That was bad. I already know it was bad. All right. Let's go check it out. So the tripod is here. I don't know what happened. That's the phone. It was there. Now it's here. Oh, wait a second. Oh no way, it actually works! Man, after feeling that shot, I was not expecting the phone to be in one piece. One. This is a great case. It's a great case. The phone seems perfectly fine. Let's check it out. Yep. It's completely fine. It's perfect. It's perfect. And I mean, the case has a little bit of damage on it, but nothing crazy, like scratches. And obviously the phone still works perfectly. Shout out to Rhino Shield. You can get one of these by checking out Rhino Shield. Moreover, you can use my code MikeShake for 10% off at the link below. Alright, now I really want to see what happens when you shoot a ballistic gelatin block with this thing. You probably know it at this point. Ballistic gelatin should represent muscle tissue. So to find out if pressure could be lethal, it's gonna be interesting to see what it can do to this block. Alright, ballistic gelatin. Let's try this. Wow! Oh my god, I felt that. Jeez. There is no visible damage on the gelatin, even though from the slow motion camera you can see the shockwave penetrated quite a bit. So this gets me very curious about what's gonna happen to the ballistic dummy head, because that one has bones. The sun is about to go down anyway, so I'm gonna try that one right now. If I had to place a bet, I would say the zombie is about to disappear. The problem is that, since I'm scared of ricochets, I'm hiding behind the panel, and the first shot, I actually managed to miss. So, I'm trying again, this time basically point blank.
My barber when I say I just want to shorten my hair a little bit.
The blast of pressure basically separated the gelatin from the bones, but the zombie's skull is perfectly fine.
Is this the ear? Yeah, that's the ear. Ugh.
And even though this shot would have definitely hurt, like a lot, do you think it would have been lethal? Well, I don't think it makes sense shooting the concrete block, so instead, I'm gonna shoot the dummy a second time, just to be 100% sure that this kind of pressure can't actually crack bones. And well, the pressure wave kinda separated the skull from the neck, but it didn't punch through the bone. So, pressure could certainly be dangerous, but when it comes to a car tire, which has 130 times less pressure than this blaster, I would probably be fine. Right now, I'm working on a project that is gonna be very, very cool. It's kinda my first prototype. If you wanna see that, subscribe. And also, leave a like, so I know you enjoy this stuff. Thank you for watching.